Back here in the United States, we have new numbers giving us an indication of how passionate Georgia voters are this election cycle. Georgia shattered early voting records with more than 50% of their active voting public submitting their ballots already. They are in, folks. And take a look at the Georgia voting map here. Really drill into this. 3 million people hit the polls as today marks the last day of in-person early voting in that state. So officials expect a wave of people at voting centers today. So let's go live to outside of one of those voting centers in Georgia right now, and CBS News reporter Jared Eggleston. Jared, the numbers really are astounding. What are you seeing there? We are seeing lines there behind you.
Reed, good afternoon. You are exactly right. These lines are very long here. We are in Cobb County. This is one of the metro Atlanta suburbs where we have also seen record turnout. As you said, we are at 52%. I just checked the numbers right before I came on here with you. 52% of active voters have voted already in this election, about 3.7 million people. Now, the Secretary of State's office says already today at about 10:30 Eastern time that 50,000 people had already casted ballots. And if we stay on that pace, Reed, officials believe that we could outpace the first day of early voting here in Georgia. Now, I talked to some of those voters as we were waiting to come up here with you, and everyone here is just excited to be able to get out and cast their vote early. You know, the line is long. Some people said that they had been waiting for 30, 45 minutes, even upwards of an hour, but they said that the line is moving quickly. And earlier this week, the Secretary of State's office did say that some pockets, like the one you see behind me, are having longer wait times, but the majority of polling locations, people are getting in and out within 15, 30 minutes, Reed.
Well, at those polling locations, we know people likely could be scrolling on their phones, maybe even watching CBS News 24/7. So for that voter who might be watching right now, what are election officials telling them to know, sort of the news you can use about voting today in Georgia?
Listen, they want everyone to get out and vote today. Today is the last day of early voting here in Georgia. And, you know, Georgia officials really want everyone to get that vote in early so that on election day, we don't have any delays or any types of issues so that you don't get caught up in anything on election day. Now, officials are also urging folks, if you have an absentee ballot here and you haven't sent it back yet, they're saying do not put it in the mail. At this point, they're saying they don't want to risk it getting lost in the mail. There's been several issues with mail here in the metro Atlanta area, but also they just want folks to drop off those absentee ballots directly. And also they're saying if you did send your absentee ballot in, they want you to double check that it actually has already made it to the polling center. You can do that on the Georgia Secretary of State's website, because they said if it has not been accepted by last night, they are urging folks to come out and early vote today in person instead to make sure that their voice is heard, Reed.
Well, we know those election officials there at the polls are public servants, but you're also hearing from some of those public servants that they are confronting in real time misinformation situations. What are you hearing about that?
So a few weeks ago, we found out that that somebody had targeted an absentee voter website on the Georgia Secretary of State. They were able to quash that. They're cybersecurity experts. But then last night, there was a video that kind of took off on X, formerly known as Twitter, yesterday that purported to show Haitian immigrants. And they said that they had voted twice in Fulton and Gwinnett County, two very big suburbs here in metro Atlanta. The Secretary of State's office came out in force last night saying that those claims were categorically false, and they said that they believed it to be part of a Russian disinformation campaign. And also they said that they have been in touch with state and federal officials to investigate this, and there have been several cases of videos online of people trying to bring misinformation out surrounding this election process. And state officials, not only here in Georgia but around the country, are trying to make sure that voters have confidence in our election system.
People waiting in line there to voice their choice, exercise freedoms that were won by people who gave their lives. And I think they put it right. Russian troll farms. Jared Eggleston, thank you so much for that live report. Fascinating to see the lines there. That's civic engagement, people. Stay with CBS News for exit polling, real-time results, and analysis all day from all over the country. Special coverage starts at 4 p.m. Eastern right here on CBS News 24/7.